So Danny makes these wooden poetry books in my garage in New Orleans. My garage is his studio, so we see each other a lot. And I have these great memories now of 2 Mardi Gras now. We've sort of started our 6 a.m. day together because, you know, I hear the garage door open and I'm like, oh, that's 6, it's Danny, he must be getting ready to go on the street. And
we go out at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And so
it's
then
the last
I'll come
day.
out like with half my makeup on and my, you know, my costume and be like, hey Danny, see you on the street.
Right, see you on the street downtown.
Cause I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. And I done said the right thing, but it must.
How long have you lived in New Orleans?
Oh man. I need a detective to figure out when I first got there.
Okay.
But like 30 years, I think. I remember seeing Professor Longhair.
Oh, you were there before?
I saw him then. I might have been like passing through town, but I know in the 80s I was there for a lot of the 80s. Yeah, it was just it's one of those places you get it or you don't. And you know, you can't stay away from it. I could say, well, it was either a woman or my car broke down or both. Right? But you know, I mean, to be serious, I was living in New York City, and there were musicians that I got to know, like Charles Neville, and then going to see Mac Rebennack, like Dr. John. I just got enthralled with the music, and of course, I had to go down. So that was a big part of it.
You know, the character's been around for a while, and I've watched it develop for a while, and so it wasn't that hard for me to kind of let go and let Gordon create his own Francis. You know, the rhythms of Kerwick are pretty infused in the character itself, and then Gordon can kind of take them and make them what he wants them to be. So there wasn't a lot of like, oh, Danny would say it this way, really. Right.
You know, but one thing I can say that's wrong with it is that he didn't shave the top of his head.
That's coming.
You can fix that tonight? No, I'm familiar with the script. I've seen it. I think Lisa called me like 2 years ago.
You read one of the first drafts.
One of the first drafts, or whenever it was, and said, I'm furiously working. This thing's coming out of her, and said, and you're a character, and I'm like, all right, yes, okay. So I've seen it, so I know the script a bit over time. So and so understand that she's given me an alter ego, which is nice.
It's the first time it's happened in my journey as an actor to experience, what I am currently experiencing, and meeting Daniel, and while we were in rehearsal, Lisa arrived one day with a book of poetry that Daniel wrote and was going to give me, and it was perfect because it was all worn, and you knew it had been around. It had some mileage on it already, you know.
I love that this play can allow these like hidden heroes of New Orleans actually speak through my play. So it was important to me to use some of Danny's actual words, and also to have Danny's work on sale in the bookstore, which I know people have been buying some of it. You know, I knew that in order to capture a bit of New Orleans, it was going to have to be messy. You know, it was going to have to be kind of like this crazy pastiche of singing, drinking, partying. And so those were kind of goals when I set out to write the play. And I also knew that I just kind of had to ramble through it. I didn't really know where the play was going, so I just kind of let myself ramble a little.
It's hard to describe New Orleans, but one word I use a lot is serendipity. And you just let it be, and you'll end up
where you are.
You'll have a flat tire on your bike, you end up somewhere else. And that's very much what the town is like.
Well, and I think that's what Zoe learns.
She learns that.
Don't you think? I think that's one of the values that Zoe kind of learned. Like, she comes to this party, in her box, and something happens. Something happens.
Cause I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. And I done said the right thing.